best of driver skills. The track is designed to simulate desert racing, but sometimes the stadium gets in the way. This racing series still carries the name of its founder, Mickey Thompson, and the excitement starts all over again in 1993 here at Anaheim Stadium. Stay with us for Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Racing, next on ESPN. And good evening, everybody, from a very wet Southern California. It has been raining most of the afternoon. The track has got a pretty fair soaking, and talk about driver skills. The test on this track tonight. Along with my partner, Mike Galloway. Ken Bruce speaking to you. And, Mike, I guess you can never truly predict the weather, can you?
Well, not even in Southern California. Most of the day was beautiful, Ken. The track was great. Had a lot of good lines in it. Everything was wonderful. And then about the middle of the afternoon, the skies opened up, and only moments ago has it quit raining.
And the rain continues and continues, and you have to believe that Toyota's dominance this year in the Grand National Sport Truck category, I think, will be tested. There are a lot of guys back this year, Mike, with new equipment, new sponsors, and I think a pretty fair shot at challenging this dominance that Toyota has enjoyed over the last 9 and 10 years.
Well, that's true, Ken. If Toyota has anything to do with it, that won't happen. They've had more test time than anyone, according to Pit Talk. But Danny Thompson has stepped over to a Ford truck. I think the Rough Riders team with Danny is going to be a great improvement. Also, you're going to see some exciting things. The MEARS, the father and son team, they're working great this afternoon. We saw some trucks that were very, very practice earlier today.
You like that Pit Talk, don't you?
Oh, I love it.
I know another guy that loves Pit Talk, Ralph Shaheen. He's our pit reporter, and Ralph is standing by with a couple of guys who statement here on opening night in 1993.
The one thing you want to do at the season opening round of any racing series is make your statement. I'm going to be the guy to beat all year long. Last year in 1992, Rod Millen was the man to beat, the reigning champion. What statement do you make here in 93?
Well, you know, 92 is behind us, so, you know, we're not really even worried about that now. But 93, it is going to be important to sort of get out there and win. We didn't expect all this rain, so this has changed a few things around. Fortunately, we did a lot of testing in the rain, so the Toyota truck is working real good.
For Rick Johnson, his statement was, I'm Rookie of the Year, but I got to win. He's the big dog on the porch. What do you do? What's your statement?
Well, a lot of times you can get caught up in the hoopla of the first race and put so much emphasis on it that you basically shatter your whole season. Unfortunately, we didn't get as much time as we wanted on the test track because of the rain, but we put in some good times in practice, and what I'm going to do is go out there, drive a hard race, not put too much pressure on myself for this race because we have a whole month in between now and San Diego to reset myself. For motocross, it was the same thing. If you don't do it in the first race, you're going to be playing catch-up all year long, and a lot of times you can mess yourself up mentally, so I'm going out for the best finish I can get.
Not only are you trying to make a statement, but in doing so, sometimes it's the seasoned veterans that can dig deep and overcome the adrenaline rush to find the way to victory circle, and these two are definitely seasoned veterans.
Thank you very much, Ralph. Stay dry tonight. We'll hear from Ralph Shaheen throughout the course of the evening. Back at the Big A in Anaheim, we are just about set to go here. Heat race number 1, Grand National Sport Trucks. And Mike, all the big names from last year back out on the track again this year for 1993, including the man that will all be chasing, I'm sure, Rod Millen. He and Ivan Stewart. What a team. Danny Thompson, number 9, and the number 7 truck, Rick Johnson. And as we pan back,
there's your man.
Lined up just before turn number 1. And Millen, of course, here in 92, became only the second Grand National Sport Truck driver to win 2 heat races and the main event. And he'll try to equal that tonight here on a track that looks to be very unforgiving. It's a muddy, muddy night, and our in-car cameras tonight, Mike, should give us some great, great shots. Waiting for the green flag, and that should be momentarily dropping, and we're about to start the 1993 Mickey Thompson Off-Road Racing Series, and we are off. And it's a fair start. And you can see already big decisions having to be made whether to go inside or outside. Mike, again, the track from the start looks like there is some problems with the proper traction. No question about it. These drivers are struggling as they come through this, the first turn. And in the lead, it is Danny Thompson. Danny Thompson in the lead as they come through what appears to be the end here of lap number 1. But Mike, already we got a problem back in the middle of the track.
Well, this track is unforgiving. It's more of a roller coaster situation where you get out, you do the very best you can, and you try to take the lead. Danny Thompson right now is battling pretty heavily. The Dodge making a move on him, but right now Danny's out front. You know he's got to be happy. It's a brand new ride, Ken.
Danny Thompson currently leading with Walker Evans right on his tail, and Thompson maintains speed as he comes through that second turn. Walker Evans in the number 5 truck, right on Danny Thompson in the number 9 truck. 1 lap down, 7 to go here in this, the first heat race of the night. Good shot at Danny Thompson. He's got better equipment this year. He's in a Ford Ranger. Obviously off to a good shot. Here's the battle for number 3, and we've got a problem right there. We've got a truck on its top, and it appears to be Walker Evans, who has just turned completely over down at turn number 6, and the yellow flag is out.
Ken, that's a very tricky situation. You and I talked about it earlier. There's a set of 3 jumps there. It's real tough to hit them and make it over all 3 of them. We haven't seen it done yet. Well, it gets on the inside of McCachran and just kisses the barrier, the hydro barrier, comes back out in McCachran again. The mud's so bad you can't do anything. He's just off base. He lands sideways. There's no place to go. Momentum carries him over. The third one, and there he lays upside down.
Walker Evans back upright. We'll have a restart now. And it appears that Rod Millen may have made the best progress with Walker Evans' misfortune. All right, we're set to go now. And again, it's Thompson who takes the lead as they come through turn number 2. Danny Thompson in the lead with Rob McCachran right on his tail. And again, watching Evans, he appears to be okay after the flip.
Well, the Rough Rider trucks, Ken, are setting 1 and 2, and nothing would make anyone happier in that team. And there you saw Danny in the same problem. That triple jump is really playing havoc on the drivers tonight.
Roger Mears comes up and now takes over position number 3. But again, it's Thompson's race right now as he takes the lead in his Ford. McCachran, teammate, right behind him. And Mears, who appears to be losing a little bit of body molding, is currently riding 3rd. Evan Evans is in truck number 13, the green and white truck, and there you can see McCachran making good use of that as he edges inside.
Now, the split. Rob went to the inside, Danny's gone to the outside. What's it going to be when they end up in that all-important turn number 5? Who's going to be in the lead? It looks like Rob McCachran may take over the lead from Danny Thompson.
So using Evan Evans, Rob McCachran has pulled into the lead in front of teammate Danny Thompson. The waning moments of this heat race. And McCachran has stormed to the lead. Rob McCachran driving the Ford, hometown of Las Vegas, and he appears to be en route to winning the first heat race of the 1993 season.
These boys are out of Hemet, California. They did a lot of changing over the winter. They separated their teams. They went from a single team to a desert team and a stadium team. They think it's going to help the trucks, and they really seem to be doing a great job tonight. The Ford is on its way. Right now, we're looking at the Budweiser trucks. Look at that, Ken. We've got
Rob McCachran, Roger Mears, and Junior here, 1, 2, 3, with Danny Thompson finishing 4th. There's your winner, Rob McCachran in the Ford, the winner of heat race number 1. McCachran, our winner. Rob, it looked like you took advantage of a little lap traffic to grab the lead.
That's right. We came up on lap traffic there, and I got inside Danny, and that gave me the break I needed to put this main event, or actually this first heat race, in the books.
Are you looking already to the main event, Rob? I mean, you got that on your mind.
Well, I'll tell you, 2 years ago in Dallas, the track was kind of like this, and we had a good race there, and that's all I can think about right now is that these BF Goodrich tires working really good. The Ford's running strong.
Let's talk a little bit, Rob, about the mud. What is the track like?
Well, it's like a mud bog out there. All the corners are really muddy. There's a lot of grease out there, a lot of real slimy. The BF Goodrich tires are hooking up really good, as you can see.
Rob McCachran, the winner of the heat race tonight in the Grand National Sport Trucks. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Let's go to Ralph in the pits to see what the tire situation is.
Ken, it's very interesting. What we want to do here, the tires, to make them really work, is you want to get your own version of a paddle wheel boat. Here's what I mean. See how the tires are right now? See how the grooves go this way? They're going to come back here, and they're going to cut these blocks this way, across, at an angle this way. Get nice big channels in there, just like they have right here. That way, as this tire turns, it helps pull the truck forward through the mud, just like a paddle wheel boat does in the water.
Inside the nature recipe car of Jimmy Johnson, the 92 champ. We're all set for super lights, Mike. Tell me about this classification. What makes it so special?
I love this class. This is as exciting a class as you're ever going to see. Car sitting on the inside pole position. Tim Baker, brand new car. This is the first time they've raced this car. It's called a Briggs built, a Mirage, excuse me. That's Briggs behind it, but it's a Mirage.
Two interesting things about the Superlights this year. 11 of the 24 drivers we're going to see this season are contract drivers. In other words, they fly in and they race this equipment that other people own. And also team sponsorships, very big on the Superlight. You know, we had Nature's Recipe, there's Team Mirage. It's kind of it's going really high-tech, high advertising.
Kind of like the IndyCar circuit,
yes,
you know. Does that bring some comparison to mind?
And we are all set to go here on heat race number 1 of the Superlights. And just as soon as we get the track okay, we're going to be good to go. There is our starter, Gary Scheimer. And as soon as he drops the green flag, we're off to 7 laps of Superlight racing.
Oh, look at Mercedes Gonzalez. Did she pull the doors off of him? Mercedes just really runs off and hides. I believe that's Jimmy Johnson that took the left-hand part of the track, though. Who's going to come out when they get to that all-important number 5, though, Ken?
Right here, it's Mercedes that takes it as Johnson does a 360 back before turn number 5.
Look at Mercedes. She's on her way. This could be good for Mercedes. But there's Greg George coming up behind her in the number 3 vehicle. Greg George, great driver, finished 3rd. You know, the 3 didn't says what he finished last year, and he finished 3rd. A Mirage sets in 2nd. Greg George moving to the inside. That's a great shot. This track is really coming around, and it's going to be great before the night's over. A booger bear, as you'd call it. Look at the race for number 2 position.
Right, in 2nd place right now, it's Tim Baker battling Greg George, but it's Mercedes Gonzalez who has the lead. And we've got a problem back at number 2.
Look at this. Look at this. They're hooked up. Greg George is really trying to get around. This is terrible. Now they're getting all kinds of it. Greg George is shoved completely off the course. There's Jimmy Johnson. He's in this thing too. But right now, the Mercedes Gonzalez out in front and going on. Watch that young lady. She's sitting there. Jimmy's car. Jimmy's back. He's got to barrel his way to the front. He had some problems, had a spin, and now he's got to fight his way back up front.
Mercedes Gonzalez has stalled coming through turn number 5. Now she almost gets T-boned before she turns around and gets off.
She's headed in the right direction now. At least that's one thing for her. But the leader you see on the left-hand side of your screen, he has really, that's Sean Finley, and Sean Finley has, you know, stretching it out. That's all you can say.
Finley in the Triple E, assuming the position of number 1 after Mercedes Gonzalez encounters trouble through turn number 5.
Well, Mercedes had built a good lead. Let's see if she's got enough time to come back and catch Finley before this race is over with. John Finley started off of the back row, Ken, so that tells you that this track is coming around and coming around in a hurry. Finley looks like he slowed down a little bit there, that set of jumps. He can't do that with Mercedes coming up behind him.
Meanwhile, up front, Sean Finley sees the white flag as 1 lap remains in the race.
I don't think we're going to see Mercedes pull this one out tonight because she's way too far in the back. But Ken, it was her race to lose, and she lost it.
She lost it. And it'd be interesting to see what the problem was when this race is over. Meanwhile, Sean Finley takes the right-hand lane and through turn numbers 2 and 3, back down to turn number 5, apparently in command. He comes through the rhythm section with the right-hand turn, and now will come up to the top of the track at turn number 7 and try to bring it on home here in heat race number 1 of the Superlights. And it appears that Sean Finley, taking advantage of others' misfortune, takes the checkered flag. And among other things here tonight at the Big A in Anaheim, a salute to the greatest oval driver in IndyCar history. Rick Mears was on hand tonight for a special presentation to the Mickey Thompson Entertainment Group.
The history of Mickey Thompson goes back to 1979, where a track much like this one here in Anaheim was installed in the LA Coliseum. Rick MEARS was the winner of the inaugural Mickey Thompson Stadium off-road event in the LA Coliseum, only a few weeks after winning his first Indy 500. He won in both the Baja Bug and the Unlimited single-seaters. Even though Rick is now retired, Mickey Thompson Off-Road Series will always call him one of their own.
Well, earlier tonight we saw an interesting development in the Super 1600 Heat Race #1, and it involved last year's champion Jerry Welchel in the #1 Toyota. Watch this.
Watch Jerry Welchel go up over, and when he does, the #5 car right there comes underneath him, and Gary Gill, that's the way it started, and it couldn't have started any worse. They can't get untangled. Welchel's up on top, Gary Gill's on the bottom, but we got a restart. We go to a restart, and what does Welchel do? He wins by a good, I'd say a good 45 seconds with some great driving. Over the finish line and taking the checker flag, and unquestionably a great heat race in the first heat race of the year. And a reminder that our next Mickey Thompson telecast comes your way on Sunday, March the 21st. We'll be a couple of hours down the road from where we are right now at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, California. Check your local listings for the time on ESPN. Glad you're watching right here on ESPN, but if you live in and around any of these cities, you're in luck, because the greatest stadium off-road racing in the world is coming to these locations. Mickey Thompson Off-Road Racing, Saturday, February 20th at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego. Then 1 month later in March at the Kingdome in Seattle. We'll be in Phoenix and the Sun Devil Stadium on Saturday, May the 1st. And on Saturday, May 22nd, Mickey Thompson's Off-Road Racing comes to the LA Coliseum. Do yourself a big favor. Take the family. Buy some tickets. Here's a man that needs to get out of the pouring rain. Ralph Shaheen, what's going on down there?
Well, Ken, as you can see, it is absolutely pouring down here, and that has become a big problem for the competitors, not only on the racetrack but off. Take a look behind me here at the Mirage Team pits. As you can see, their pit area is completely flooding, and that makes working on the cars very difficult. These guys are not the only ones suffering this problem. It is rampant throughout the pit lane, and it makes getting the machines prepared for the next heat and the upcoming main events very, very difficult.
Back at the Big A in Anaheim, California, Orange County, California. Heat race #2 in the Super 1600s. I'll tell you what, they had to watch that first heat race, Mike, and see Welchel have all his problems. Maybe they'll take it a little less of a risk here as they begin this.
No way, Ken.
Think they'll just lay into it, huh?
No, this is racing. If it gets green, we're going to go.
This is racing after a layoff, too. I mean, these guys have been itching to get out here on this track for months.
I like Marty Hart. New transmission in the car. He said before tonight he had to baby the car and then had to stand on it in the feature. I don't have to baby it tonight. I can run wide open through the heat races and into the feature.
And here's a classification that is wide open with 4 of the top 7 drivers from last year retiring or limiting their racing. So even with Welchel available, this is a classification that's wide open, and we're all set and off and running at heat race #2 here at the Super 1600s. And most of the drivers, as we've seen all night, electing to go to that outside, that screen right lane. And we've got a leader already here in Bob Gordon, who has taken the lead as we move through the rhythm section for the first time in this heat race. He's in that black and white and red. Very nice color. Oh, we've got a big pileup back in turn #6, and again at the top of turn 7. Several of these Super 1600s having trouble, but now all but one appear to be going. Doesn't affect Gordon, who continues to lead the race. Gordon out in front just barely as he goes through turn #2 for the second time tonight.
Well, watch Gordon negotiate these turns. I don't understand, he was kind of forced to go to the outside earlier. Marty Hart went that way. Marty made up a lot of ground that time, Ken. Marty Hart is going to challenge Bob Gordon before the night's over with.
Marty Hart right on the tail of Gordon, stalled traffic in turn #6, and that is going to make it more than a little dicey for the Super 1600 drivers.
Well, Bob Gordon right now out in the lead. Marty Hart in the number 2 spot, and right down to number...
Wes Banks is running 3rd.
Wes Banks has come up to 3rd, but I don't know. Gordon is stretching the lead, but here again, now he's changed the line that he's taking, and we've got cars that are slowing down in front of Gordon. This is going to be very interesting to see how they come out of number 5.
Gordon not only has to navigate around the stalled traffic, he's got lap traffic in front of him too, and that may play into Marty Hart's hand. We'll see. Hart still running 2nd, and running 3rd is Wes Banks. The leader, of course, Bob Gordon, right there at the bottom of the screen. And as they come over that triple jump, again, a great camera angle to show you exactly how that track is holding together a lot better now as we moved in to this, the middle of the racing evening.
Well, Baja Bob coming up, and
we got a problem down here. I think Marty Hart is stalled out.
With anything, but there's Marty Hart.
He's okay now, or is he? No, he's departing. Hart will go back into the pits.
Well, that's going to put a lot of distance between Bob Gordon and the number 2 competitor. And I do mean a lot of distance. I think the number 2 competitor is going to be Wes Banks, driving the number 21 car. And Bob Gordon, he comes off the course.
Gordon has got problems.
He leaves the course.
He is stalled right at the top of turn number 1. So the top 2 drivers are...
Broke the axle. No, that's not an axle. Yes, it is. I believe that is an axle.
Well, that puts it in the hands of Wes Banks, who was running 2nd or 3rd not 2 minutes ago. Now he's got the lead.
Well, he was running that 3rd position and was a long way. Oh, look at this, Ken. He's in trouble. That took out the number. Well, can he get back in it, though? Can he get back in it before another car gets by? He doesn't do it. He drops position.
Goshen in the lead after the top 3 drivers all experienced difficulty.
Boy.
Marty Hart departs. He had left early and had a lot of trouble. Gordon was in the lead. He leaves early to the pits. And there was a little bit of a mishap with Wes Banks earlier in the race. Now some bumping as they come through turn number 6. The white flag out as Goshen crosses what will soon be the finishing line. Right on his tail is Steve Kula.
Well, the way things have gone tonight, Ken, you don't ever talk about who's going to win this one if that checkered flag comes out. This thing's unbelievable. Look at the race for 2nd and 3rd. It is so close. And 4th place coming up in there. We've got the next 4. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That is close. And look what happens here. We've got to change the lead up a little bit. Doesn't happen, though.
At the top of the turn, and now coming down to turn number 8 in the number 9 Super 1600. There is your winner.
Look at this. This was 2nd and 3rd battle. This was the 2nd and 3rd battle. They had problems. Now they've got them straightened back out. We still have a race going in for the number 2 spot. Who's it going to be? Who can get there? Who are they trying to give this thing away? No one will take it.
It appears that Steve Kukla has finished in 2nd place, but the winner is Bill Goshen. Heat race number 2 of the Super 1600s. A man who saw misfortune in front of him and took advantage of it. Bill Goshen, our winner tonight in the, what a race, Bill.
Oh, it was fabulous. It was fabulous. I can't believe it. First time ever up on the podium. It's how sweet it is.
Yeah, I understand that. They were dropping like flies in front of you, Bill. What were you thinking when you see guys like Hart and Gordon go into the pit and you're not even halfway through the race?
Well, sometimes you don't even see them go, because if they take off and you're not right there, I really wasn't aware that they had pulled off the track. I just kept driving as hard as I could, and, it worked out. Worked out for the greatest.
Let's take a look at this pass where you take over the lead. The car in front of you got a little crossways, Bill, and
yep.
It was all yours after that.
Well, you know what? I couldn't get around him for a second there, and you just got to pick your spot. You got to be patient and make sure that you go through smooth. And it worked out all right.
You did a great job tonight. We're really happy for you.
Okay, I appreciate it. I thank you, and I just want to thank my whole crew. Thank you, B.F. Goodrich, and praise the Lord.
Budweiser Track Fact is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers.
Ken, you know, Yamaha is very serious about their Ultra-Cross efforts this year. They've done some changes to the engine. What they've developed back in the factory is a more usable, broader power band for the riders. There's one other thing that the No-Lean team has done, and it's right here in the shock absorber department. This is the new O-Lean shock. Now, the reason why this one is different than most shocks that you'll see here, the body of this one is made of steel. Most of the others are made out of aluminum. Now, the problem with the aluminum shocks is that it builds up heat, and when it does, it expands, and the shock-absorbing ride, the suspension work on this Yamaha becomes, or on the other bikes with the aluminum, becomes a lot more inconsistent. With the steel, it doesn't expand in the body. The ride is more consistent, and hopefully for the No Lean team, their Yamaha goes to victory lane.
In race number 2 in the Ultra Cross, and through the mud and the pouring rain, we're off, whittling it down to our ultimate winner in the main event. And already we've got a pretty fair start with Mark Brooks battling for the lead, and a little bit of a slippage up there at the top of turn number 3. Brooks battling for the lead along with Ryan Carlisle.
Well, Sean is really having a rough go of it, isn't he?
Kalos is starting to make up some ground, Mike. He may make a run here, and the rain continues to fall, but it doesn't seem to be affecting Carlisle in the lead, or Kalos, who is about 10 seconds behind him.
Well, this young man is no doubt showing no fear in this mud, and here again, Ken, they're running very fast, but they're not running near as fast as they would if it was dry, and you can tell that just by watching him. This guy's getting some air, and he's really pushing this bike to the outer limit.
The leader is Carlisle, and there is Carlisle fishtailing, as most of these riders are as they come through the various turns.
Understand that Carlisle is riding Mike Craig's Kawasaki. Hope for another win for a championship. That's the one that won it last year. Of course, you have to earn the number. There's no number 1 this year because it moved on to different racing series. And the bike is now sitting out front.
Kalos is making up some ground on him, Mike.
Quick look over the shoulder, says, I'm in trouble, and we have got a battle, Ken.
Yep.
This one's going to go to the wire.
Kalos was 10 seconds behind him not 2 laps ago. Now he's closed that gap to maybe 3.
Carlisle right now is the man with the vengeance. He has got, I'd say, the driver's seat being in that second spot. He can watch, he can find a place to pass, and when he does, you can bet it's going to be a hard charging pass.
And if you're Carlisle, you know you cannot make any mistake because it will cost you the lead. But swinging to the outside now as Carlisle cuts the turn.
Well, he lunges for that berm to come off that berm and just rocket him down the chute. Look at this, right on top of him, but Kenny got in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, and Carlisle cut him off,
but a good
cuts him off again here as they ride through the ruts. Again, fishtailing. Carlisle may lose the lead, and they bump. Carlisle still with it, and now it's Kalos who takes the lead.
Absolutely fabulous riding on both of them's part. They were touching, and neither one of them went down. Good, solid racing. That is unbelievable, Ken. That's great racing. Well, this kind of a racetrack, it's fabulous racing.
Kalos, knowing that he's very close to taking the checkered flag, but like Carlisle before him, who had the lead, he knows he cannot afford the least mistake. He is passing some lap traffic there, and Kalos sees the white flag, which tells him there's only 1 lap left. So that young man knows that if he can just hold on now for less than 1 lap, he will go to the main event tonight in great shape. Using the berm and turning it high and gaining the traction and still keeping that 3 to 4 second advantage over Carlisle.
Well, he's coming back at him. The thing about it is, Ken, any of the smallest mistakes, something that normally you can make it and recover with no problem at all, tonight will put you down and out of this race.
Okay, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 turns to negotiate, and there's one of them, and Sean Kalos will have the checkered flag. Carlisle even farther behind him now, maybe by as many as 10 seconds. He continues to fishtail through turns, where Kalos maintains traction. 1 turn to go. It's lap traffic in front of Kalos. He can almost back off the throttle and cruise home. The checkered flag is out, and Kalos will take it and win this heat race number 2 in the Ultra Cross. Coming in second place, and he has to be disappointed, I'm sure, is Ryan Carlisle. There he is, finishing second. But it's Kalos who wins it. Heat race number 2 in the Ultra Cross. Truck lineup is a fellow who's an experienced desert racer and also an experienced driver. But there's a twist to the story of Evan Evans, and here with it is our Ralph Shaheen.
Evan Evans is no stranger to off-road racing. His father, Walker, is one of the sport's living legends, and Evan himself is a seasoned desert racer. Stadium racing, however, is a new challenge for Evan.
it is a separate issue, because in the desert you have time to let your guard down a little bit, because you know it will be a long day. You got 5 to 8 hours that you'll be out in the desert. Here you only got a couple of minutes to get the job done, so you are on the edge the whole time here.
What makes it even tougher for Evan is the fact that he is forced to use hand controls to operate his American Racing Equipment back truck due to a non-racing accident that took away the use of his legs.
Well, it took me about a week to figure out the proper hand controls that I thought would work out really well for the short course stadium. A little bit different than my desert truck. I put all the controls directly on the steering wheel, the brakes and the throttle. I only have to shift one time if everything goes right, and that's right off the starting line from low gear to high gear.
Evan Evans and his truck's owner Ken Hodgson are determined to prove that they are a force to be reckoned with.
We all want it real bad. He's got everything invested into it his whole life, and I've got everything that I've worked for my whole life invested in it, and I'd sure like to see it happen for us.
Mike, an interesting race tonight in heat number 2, Grand National Sport Trucks, and I'll tell you what, it was a big race for one particular competitor, Rod Millen, in that number 1 Toyota.
Rod Millen in the lead right there, and you see Evan Evans coming in the way. Can't get around him. At that time, Rick Johnson drives right up on the back door. Can't get any closer than that. Rick dives to the inside, trying to get around Millen, and does for a moment. Millen charges back after they make this turn. They rub a little sides, and it's all over with from there on out.
But Millen takes the checker flag tonight in heat number 2. He's all set for the main event. Lined up for the main event tonight in the 4-wheel ATV. Now, these guys, last time they were out for their heat races, the track was in pretty fair shape. Now it's turned into mud. Mike, this is going to be extremely interesting. And I got to believe, again, like anything else on this track, you get out in front, you want to stay out in front. 8 laps to the checker flag.
Donovan Hawley on the inside pole position on the number 4 ride tonight is out in the lead. But Ken, this thing is so slick right now, I'm not sure that anyone knows how to handle the course. Of course, they've never been on it in this condition, but Donovan Hawley is the first man to try it around. If he could just stay astraddle of his ride, his Honda, he may be there tonight. It's going to be treacherous, though.
Donovan Holland in the lead, the young man from Fresno, just up the road here in California. But a long way to go here in this main event. They have watched other vehicle classes, I'm sure. They've had a chance to test the track, that's for certain. And now it's a race to the finish for the first main event win in the 1993 season.
With Donovan Holland out in front, but right now the challenge is coming on Donovan, and I mean he's coming on in a hurry. Look at this number 2 rider. He's sitting in the 2nd spot.
Donnie Banks right on Holland. Donovan Holland in his Honda, trying to hold off the hard-charging Donnie Banks.
Donnie Banks is going to come to the inside, Ken. Donnie came off of the 3rd row tonight, so he's got a combination that's working and working well. Let's see if we can parlay that past Holland for the lead.
Of course, other names to remember from the heat races: Chris Berger riding the number 37 ATV. Banks and Holland we've already alluded to.
We've now got a rider that's moved into the 3rd spot, so overall you can tell that it's catching up with him. The thing to look at, Ken, look at the number 4. Look at Donovan Holland's ride. The front of it is clean as a whistle. He's clean as a whistle. He hasn't been behind anyone. Look at the rider right behind him. I mean, the bike is covered up completely with mud. Donnie Banks, you know, he's wiping stuff off of it, and Donovan Holland, he's taking it all in.
Donovan Holland, Banks on his tail as they proceed up into what is turn number 1. 1, 2, and 3 queued up for you here, courtesy of your television screen. Donovan Holland with the lead. There he is out in front. Donnie Banks right behind him. And look at what's been kicked jumped up onto these riders.
Well, Donovan is in the lead. It shows. His bike still has a resemblance of being clean, but the bikes in second and third place, the ones that are really challenging, and now a bike moving up into fourth place, the numbers are covered completely up on them. Kids, they're, talk about weighing a lot more. They've got to weigh more with all the mud on.
We need to hose them down at the finish line to see who's who. We know who the leader is. No question about that. Donovan Holland out of Fresno.
Well, Donovan started it on the inside pole. He's basically ran about 3 or 4 laps all by himself, and then the back part of the pack started to catch up with him. The track is changing, the conditions are coming around, and right now the man that's really putting the pressure on him is Donnie Banks. Donnie Banks is the number 2 spot, and Donnie is trying for all he's worth to get past Donovan Holland.
And there is a commentary on the night, Mike. Donovan Holland, you can see whom he is simply because everyone else is behind him catching his mud and everyone else's mud that's around them. Holland has no one in front of him. He remains the cleanest of all out there.
1 lap to go, Ken. This is the last lap. This is the money lap that this young man can just hold it together, and you can bet these guys are going to really challenge this time.
Donovan Holland holding the lead for the moment. Donnie Banks on his tail. But it's Holland's race right now. Banks, number 17, right on the heels of number 4, Holland. Not more than a second and a half between the two. Banks has negotiated the final turn. Turn number 7. He'll come down to turn 8 and kick it to the finish line and take the checker flag. Donnie Banks will finish second, but it is Donovan Holland who will take the checker flag and win this, the main event in the first 4-wheel ATV event of the 1993 Mickey Thompson season. Holland standing out of the pouring rain, but I'm sure you'll take it after taking the win tonight, huh?
This feels good. Real muddy and rainy, as you can see. It's a mess.
Well, and somebody mercifully puts an umbrella over you, but I got to ask you, Donovan, just driving and riding the way you did tonight, what was the biggest thing you had to avoid on that track?
I'd really have to avoid the real tacky mud on the edges of the corners and just stay real tight to the barriers without hitting them and hope for the best, and that's what happened.
Donovan Holland, thanks a lot. I'd say go grab a shower, but you've got one right now.
All right, thank you guys.
Our winner tonight in the 4-wheel ATV from Fresno, California, Donovan Holland. Well, Mike, in the main event tonight in the Sport Utility, the American Racing Custom Wheels Sport Utility, it was a mud bath, but it was a big race for the man in the number 4, Nissan, Christopher Neal.
Well, Ken, after it all sorted out and as slick as it was, Christopher Neal pretty much had it his own way. He had it his own way so much that he took about a quarter of a lap.
Rough night, too, for the Leslie Racing Team. Number 1, Tommy Croft stalls, and Larry Knoll finishes dead last. 57,000 plus here tonight in Anaheim, sitting through the elements, Mike. You don't believe it's raining. Take a look at the glass behind us. We have it. We're dry inside the press box. The great racing fans here in Anaheim sitting outside to watch this first event on the Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Racing Series. Mike, a wild night of racing, too, through the elements.
Oh, it has been absolutely the wildest, Ken, and it started with the first heat race.
And in this heat race, Walker Evans, well, I'll tell you what, it just wasn't a great start.
Well, Walker started off real early. I mean, it was like the second lap. Got a barrier, then came back across, hooked up with Danny. Now watch him on this triple jump. Gets high, crosses up, and this is it. Over we go. And we weren't but about a lap into the race, Ken. That was the first race, first lap. We knew we had problems.
Not only with that instance, but there were other instances in that first heat race. I didn't think they were going to get finished with the thing.
Well, they had several trucks upside down. A little bit later on that evening, we had problems with Rick Johnson.
And, of course, this is the Johnson incident here. And, Rick leaving with some assistance after this. And, of course, Rod Millen felt the effects of that one there in the number 1 Toyota truck.
Well, Rod Millen lacked back up just a little bit. When he did, Rick came on top of it. Rick tried to go to the outside. Rod Millen and Rick are 2 great drivers, and Rod knows what Rick's going to do. He held him off for the win. And
Rod Millen winning in heat race number 2, which leads us all into the main event tonight in the Grand National Sport Truck Competition. Inside the Grand National Sport Truck of Rod Millen, the 92 defending champ here at Anaheim and #1 man last year on the sport truck circuit. He right now has to be thinking, I would imagine, Mike, what better way to start 93 than with a win here in these conditions in Anaheim. He said he's figuring, there he is, #1 truck. He's got to be figuring, if I can drive my Toyota to victory tonight, imagine what I'm going to do on just a cleared, fast, dry surface. Let's talk about the difference here. This is an inverted start, and we're using it by virtue of current points so far this season, so far tonight.
Fast racers at the back, slower racers at the front. Rick Johnson, not a slower racer, but he sure started in front, and he did not get a good start at all. He is in deep trouble already.
We've got traffic in the back. We've got traffic up front. We've got a big pile up as they come through turn #2. But it appears that Roger Mears Sr. in his Budweiser has the lead and then relinquishes it. And as we come down the bottom of turn #5, it all filters out. And here with the lead now in the #7 truck is Rick Johnson. Rick Johnson out of Encinitas, California, in his Chevy truck appears to have taken the lead and has.
Well, look at second and third, the two Toyota. Ivan Stewart has came from the back row, now row #5, and he has moved up into third place. That's Rod Millen sitting in second spot. Here's a shot of Rod. Look at the helmet just moments ago, absolutely sparkling clean, and now the mud is coming off.
Right behind him is the Ironman Ivan Stewart.
Ken, I think we're going to see, look at this. He's going to the lead. He's going to the lead, and Millen has just passed him for the lead. Millen, if he can do it on this service, they've got the Toyota set to go another year. And look at Ivan. Ivan is right there also behind Rick. Ivan's going to move for the #2 spot if Rick doesn't watch him.
Well, Millen would love to win here. He's just from down the road in Newport Beach, and a win here tonight would be sweet. He could drive it right out of the parking lot and home.
Rick Johnson took a different course. You can see Rick on the left. Here comes Rod on the right. Now what's going to happen? Well, Rick lost a lot of time.
But now Rick Johnson may pass inside on Millen, and does, and recaptures the lead by taking the inside of that turn. Well, there is Johnson in first in the #2 truck, that Toyota driven by none other than the Ironman Ivan Stewart, and his teammate Rod Millen, who had the lead just a couple of laps ago, now sitting third. He chooses the outside. He'll chase Johnson there, and he'll let the Ironman come to the inside. But it's still the race of Rick Johnson, who just regained that lead before.
Let's see what happens when Ironman is really putting some pressure on Rick. There's no bite at this part of the racetrack. Absolutely none. Whoever can handle it, manhandle it around the corners, will come out on top. Rick Johnson that time. Watch Ivan, because he's setting Rick up. He's setting him up to take him in that part of the course.
Another lap in the book. Johnson still with the lead. The Ironman Ivan Stewart behind him. And look at what's trailing behind Millen's car. It's not the way he brought it to the track tonight. Get some sparks flying, Mike, underneath that Millen truck.
Well, it's nothing. That's nothing really to worry about. Just a little exhaust burn off. Again, these trucks, this track is going to get a lot better. Full 8 laps to go, and it will be good before the night's over. Not great, but good.
And we've got another lead change here as the Ironman comes up and steals it away from Johnson, bumping as he does so as they go through turn #6. And now the Ironman Ivan Stewart assumes the lead, but just like that, loses it again to Johnson. And just like that, Stewart tries to take it back. But it's Johnson who maintains the lead as his Chevy truck completes yet another lap.
The track is coming around. It's coming around quickly. If there's enough time left, we may see Ivan make one more run at it. But in the same breath, Rick Johnson's truck is really handling much better than it was earlier. Right there's the Ironman, and he is going to try to come back. We've got some problems. Rick Johnson sitting there. He's looking down Mears' truck. He's got to get around Mears'. Ivan is there. This could be the chance. Ivan's going to try to go to the inside, goes in, now comes out.
Two boys from the Sunshine State dueling it out of the liquid sunshine tonight. Ivan Stewart, second place, Alpine, California. And of course, it's from Encinitas, California, Rick Johnson in the #7 Chevy, sees the white flag and knows he is less than one lap now from victory in the main event tonight here in Anaheim.
Ivan falling off the pace just a little bit. It could be that the racetrack came to Rick Johnson's truck quicker than it came to the Toyota. Ivan goes someplace he hasn't been all night, and that's the far lane. But he had to do something. He couldn't get around Rick Johnson any other place on the racetrack. He's going to try it all now.
And now it is Johnson who follows behind Rogers Sr. and loses time just a little bit. It allows Ivan to crawl up, and now they're almost bumper to bumper as they head up through the top of turn number 7, down to turn number 8. The checker flag is out, and it's going to be a T-bone through the finish line, and it is Johnson who crosses first, and Ivan Stewart up on the rail will finish second. And Mike, what a way to end this race. Stewart up on the railing.
Still going down the railing.
There is the winner, Rick Johnson, of the main event tonight in the Grand National Sport Truck. He is the man who has made the statement that we talked about at the beginning of our broadcast. He has made the initial statement in this 1993 season.
Last lap, and it is quite a battle as Ivan comes on the inside of Rick. Now, this is for the checkered flag. Rick's in a little bit of trouble, brings it across. Ivan's letting him know he's there. We're just racing for it. Mears crossways. Ivan pushes him sideways across the finish line. There it is. Finish line. It was close, half a bumper apart. Ivan's up on top of the rail. He wants to get that checkered flag, so he just drives it down the guardrail all the way to the finish line.
And after it was all over, Ivan gets together with the winner, Rick Johnson, just a couple of kids playing in the mud. So here's our main event winners in race number 1 of the 1993 season. In the sport truck, what a finish. You saw it. It was a fight to the finish, but Rick Johnson out-dueling Ivan Stewart and taking the checker flag. And in the American Racing Wheels Sport Utility, the winner tonight, Christopher Neal. In the Super 1600, our winner tonight was Kevin Smith. The Superlight Championship tonight goes to Greg George. In the 4-wheel ATV in all the mud, Donovan Holland rode him better than anyone else. And in the Ultracross, it was a muddied Robert Drew who takes the checker flag. Well, the Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Racing is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers, with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. And by Toyota Motorsports, where technology on a fast track is built into every Toyota. In-car cameras made possible by your friends at Toyota BF Goodrich, American Racing Custom Wheels, and Shell Truck Guard, and Nature's Recipe Pet Food. Barrier camera compliments of Dick Seepeck and Rancho Suspension. Now, speaking for my partner, Mike Galloway, and for a great job tonight done down in Pit Road by Ralph Shaheen. Ken Bruce speaking to you, saying so long from the Big A in Anaheim, and reminding you that this has been a presentation of Bud Sports in association with ESPN.